Hola everyone, welcome back to Flexibility Script. This will be the last video to wrap up using the peanut to release any tension along the spine and help improve posture, especially with this release coming up. This video will cover the thoracic spine. So again, the thoracic spine, if you hadn't watched the earlier videos that cover the making of the peanut, the thoracic spine starts right around the very top, right below the neck. Don't know if you can see where I'm pointing to. But right here, and then if you find your last rib and you run around, that last rib will come right around the last thoracic vertebrae, T12. So you can use that peanut anywhere along the length of the thoracic spine. I usually recommend picking anywhere from 2 to 5 points to start and not trying to cover the whole length of the spine in one session, just because it can be really spicy and really intense. There's a couple ways to use the peanut to help release the the thoracic spine. And I'm going to start with addressing the bottom and start with addressing the top. When you place a peanut, if you were to place it on the lower part of the thoracic spine, you'll usually find that if you were to move your legs side to side, you'll get a nice release going into that area. So if I place it and I lay right back on it, my goal here is going to be to make sure that my rib cage stays down and I'm not letting it flare up. My rib cage will stay down, and if I get my knees bent and if I drop my knees side to side, I'll feel pressure increase on each side of the back. When I have the peanut now covering the upper section, if I have the peanut and I'm putting it right between the shoulder blades or anywhere up high, I'll usually find that if I'll hug myself, and if I rock side to side, that'll give me a better release and a better sense of spiciness to each side of the back in comparison to if I were to drop my legs side to side. So you can pick a spot along your spine, place Mr. Peanut there, and then be gently rocking side to side, very similar to what you're doing to release the lumbar spine, except your knees can be bent rocking side to side if you're doing your lower thoracic, and if you're doing your upper thoracic spine, you would hug yourself and rock side to side. Now, if you wanted to make a little bit more improvement, especially when it comes to thoracic extension and improving posture, there's an extra piece to the puzzle. So let's say I'll place it right around the shoulder blade area. Once I place it there, I'll lay back. And then all I'm going to be doing from here is, if I were to find that spot, it's a little crooked, so I'm just going to adjust it. That's better. After I'm done rocking side to side, in order to improve thoracic extension and improve also overhead range of motion, you're just going to be straightening your legs out, and you're going to get legs straight, glute squeeze, rib cage stays down, and head is neutral. It's almost like you're creating a very stable midline, and your goal is not to let this happen. Don't let this box that you've created, don't let it break. Your goal is to keep that midline stable as you go into an overhead movement. So you're going to lock both elbows out. I usually do a bit of a pointer finger, and I'm going to be extending the arms straight up overhead. If I feel like I'm going to arch, in order to do that, I'll come right back out of it, and I'll just keep going in and out of the end point. The end point being trying to get to as close to the floor as I can without bending my elbows and without losing my midline stabilization. If I'm finding that it's very spicy and this is as far as I'm going, as I keep going in and out of repetitions, I'll keep seeing an improvement in that overhead range. And when you see that tension, that inability, I should say, to get the arms up overhead, know that you found what I've called a spicy spot. And that spicy spot could be your limitation and what's holding you in a bit of a rounded forward position, or be the source of pain, especially when it comes to shoulder pain. The more you're able to work on releasing any tenderness along the thoracic spine, the more your posture will improve, the better your shoulders will function, the better you'll be able to reach up overhead. It translates into a lot of different movement patterns, especially when you're dealing with the upper body. And it is intense and spicy, so again, I usually recommend just anywhere starting at like picking 2 points along the back, and if you're wanting to spend more time, not going anywhere above 5 points, just because it is intense and you want to let those changes settle in. So just like the lumbar spine release, you're going to want to give yourself about 2 to 3 days, so every other day or every third day that you're touching in with your thoracic spine. I hope that makes sense. There's other tools out there that you can use. There's a tool called the Gemini made by Mobility Watt, and it's identical to the Peanut, just a little bit harder and more intense of a release. Know that if you choose to use the pinky balls for the release, know that with the use of the pinky ball, since it doesn't have as much give, it'll take a little bit more time before you see a release to the tissue, but it is more gentle. So the more gentle the tool, the longer it'll take to see a release. The harder the tool, the faster the release, but also the more intense the release will be. Hope this makes sense. You feel free to leave comments if you have questions. I'll try to touch base again in the future on it, but this is just enough to get you started, improve posture, improve pain. It can help with if you have a rib out of alignment, it can help with that too, help you breathe better, feel better, and live happy. All right, more to come.